privilege to greet you all to this wonderful evening for today's webinar entitled Getting Ready for Post-Lockdown Life. It is indeed a great honor and privilege for all of us to have a Dr. Bhushan Shukla sir amongst us as a speaker today. Thank you, sir, for kindly accepting our invitation. Let me take this opportunity and a great pride to introduce our today's speaker, Dr. Bhushan Shukla, sir, to all the participants. Sir is the head at Trinity Clinic, Pune, and a panel consultant at Ruby Hall Clinic, Pune. He pursued his MBBS from Bharati Vidyapeeth Medical College, Pune. Sir has pursued his MD from BJ Medical College, DNB in Psychiatry from New Delhi, MRC in Psychiatry from Royal College of Psychiatrists, UK, Medical Diploma in Hypnosis from London Medical College of Clinical Hypnosis, UK, and he is a EMDR therapist. Sir has a varied and deep clinical experience as a psychiatrist. Sir was involved in specialty rotation program in psychiatry at King's College and Guy's Hospital rotation scheme in UK for 4 years. He is also actively participates in various research activities and has various research work and publications to his credit at national and international level. He has also worked as a researcher on injectable heroin trial in UK. Sir has presented his work at various conferences. He has learned various psychotherapy modalities useful in treating the children. He has a formal training in medical hypnosis and EMDR therapy for traumatized children. He holds advisory position on school boards like Indira School Pune, Ashoka University School Nashik, etc. Sir has conducted various short training courses in parenting skills, hypnosis, play therapy, to name a few. Sir also works for prevention of child sex abuse since 2001 and has trained several teachers since then. This work was appreciated nationwide by featuring on the famous TV show Satyameva Jayate. Sir is accredited speaker and member of various advisory bodies and ethics committee. With this long list of glories, may I now request Dr. Bhushan Shukla sir to please start with the session. I over to you, sir.
Hello. I'm very happy to be here today, and thank you very much for DY Patil College of Pharmacy, Dr. Neeraj Bevare, Josna Chopre, and entire team of teachers and senior management who have made this all possible. I'm given to understand that there are two types of students in the audience today. Some of them are students of your college, and some of the participants are either parents or other people who are interested in listening to this symposium. I thank you all for taking out your time on Sunday afternoon and being here today. It is strange that I mentioned Sunday afternoon because most of us have kind of lost the sense of time. लहानपणी खेळताना ते असं डोळे बंद करून गोल गोल फिरवायचे आणि मग एकदम झोप द्यायचे आणि मग कोणाला तरी शिवायला जावं लागायचं. And at that time, the moment somebody releases you after making you go round and around in that childhood play, you would be disorientated for a while and maybe even fall down. This Sunday reminds me of that time because we all have been at home for close to 60 days now. And that is, I'm sure, the longest time that all of us have spent in our homes without voluntarily going out. Some of us may have been ill and unable to go out, but this is a voluntary lockdown that we have imposed on ourselves to protect ourselves from coronavirus. So this is fairly strange situation. And just today we have received news that in Maharashtra, this lockdown is now extended to 31st of May. So something that started on 23rd of March has now completely passed the April and will finish the May as well. So this is going to be a very long time, almost a 70-day lockdown for all of us. In many parts of Maharashtra, lockdown is opening up partially where people are allowed to open certain shops, go out, maybe go for their walks, but not socialize. And this is exactly what we are going to talk about. That over next 2 weeks or maybe a little bit more, this lockdown thing will definitely come to an end. Life will be back to normal in most of Maharashtra, except some very small micro pockets of population where COVID is quite rampant and that population needs containment. But let us assume that all of us are going to get back to out of our house and back to our jobs as soon as possible. So there are 2 points that I want to discuss about that today. One is about students and one is about managing our minds in this situation. So about students, that is really the easy bit because you are in one of the best managed pharmacy colleges in whole of India, and entire team of professors, assistant professors, lecturers, and the faculty is there to help you. We know that because of these very different circumstances, we will be seriously restricted in conducting classroom activities, in conducting group activities, in conducting presentations, and probably certain projects as well. But you're in a very good situation where school management, in accordance with the university rules, will make sure that all of your academic credentials are completed. All the present requirement or modified requirement, whatever is published by the university, will be made available to you. Your teaching will be taken care of as you are doing it right away. Your practicals will be taken care of, and your corner will be fought with the university when it comes to the portion, to the practicals, to submission of various assignments, examinations, and whatnot. You can be absolutely assured that the management, the college, the faculty will be fighting your corner with the university to give you the best possible outcome in this. And this is happening with all the universities. Everybody from the faculty is working very hard. So as a student, I don't think there should be any anxiety in your mind about completion of your degree on time, provided you stick around with the study pattern that is given to you. It is said quite often in soldiers training that the more you sweat during training, less you bleed during the war. What it means is that during your training time, not waste time. But if you are absolutely diligent with whatever studies and exercises that are given to you, when it is actually wartime, this training, something that is ingrained in your brain, something that has become a reflex, and you even in very complicated, and it will save your life, it will save you, and it will actually get you back home. So the more you time, the more you sweat during training, the less you bleed during war. And as a student, this is something that should be absolutely at the center of our attention right now. The time that we have is a lot of free time. I'm sure that many of you do not even remember when was the last time when you had so much of free time on hand. There are seminars to attend, there are lectures to attend, but there is a lot less social engagement, which saves a lot of your time. So as a student, I think you should stay absolutely focused in coming up with as much reading as you can do, which was your backlog of reading is what I mean. Stuff that you wanted to learn but never had the chance. Now you have the internet at your hand. No parents are going to stop you. You are adults and you are in a comfortable safety of your home environment with the college looking after your academic needs. You will have enough time on your hand. So it will be a very good idea to dedicate 1 or 2 hours every day to make sure that you stay absolutely up to speed with whatever is there in your academics and other skills that you require. As pharmacy students, once you have finished your degree or your postgraduation, and work in healthcare world. Some of you may want to go for various exams and all of that. Remember, this is the time when you prepare for it. Time that you have got, which was otherwise not available to you. It is going to take a while for colleges to start. That is very clear. So you will need time. If you have not invested with diligence so far, I really request you to take this and make this the best time of your life. You are staying at home, keeping yourself safe, while the government and the doctors are fighting this deadly virus. Opportunity to bump up your skills and be for the future. This is something very important. Not many people in life get this opportunity. And this time is going to differentiate you from the rest of your life. So if you are serious about having a successful career, this is exactly the time when you pick up those skills. You have internet. All the world's universities are putting their curriculum on the internet, easily accessible to all, right, from Harvard to your own college. Using those courses, even other allied courses which are not routinely taught in your college, this is the time to pick it up. Something like interpersonal skills, something like presentation skills, something like brushing up on your English, something like learning a foreign language, picking up additional skills in your college subjects, or even something like interest in management planning methods or something like that. All these courses are available on those massive online training centers called MOOCs, and you can always access them and learn these things. It is really important that you use this time to edge ahead of everyone else. Remember, the person who ultimately wins the race is not somebody who has been ahead right from the beginning, but it is the person who diligently sticks to his plan and manages to put his head ahead of everyone else towards the finishing line. And this is your chance, this is your opportunity to do all of that while staying at home. So I suggest that all of you should be using this time as good as possible and bumping up your skills, because that is really going to help you in your long run. So that is one part. Second part is when we actually face the end of this lockdown. As I told you, as a doctor, I feel I'm not in a decision making position with government, but as a doctor, I can see in what direction and there will be gradual lifting of curbs even for areas that are completely green. Government is trying to put as less restrictions as possible and facilitate life as quickly as possible, facilitate economic activity as quickly as possible. But this will only continue if we look after ourselves. If we prove that we are kind of people who don't need to be kept locked down, we can look after ourselves. And this is the second point of our discussion today, that post lockdown, there is going to be a huge amount of responsibility on all of us, particularly people from healthcare sector like you and me, to look after ourselves and to educate the society as well. See, people are already tired, and we Indians are not exactly famous in this world for being great rule followers. Even something as simple as wearing a helmet or not driving when one is drunk or driving on the correct side of the road or following traffic rules is something that we Indians find very difficult. Something as simple as not throwing away our trash becomes difficult to us. That is why our Prime Minister had to actually start a nationwide movement of Clean India, Swachh Bharat, to teach us basic hygienic skills. This is the reality of our country, and this is what we are going to face. So when lifted and all of us are allowed to venture out of our houses to a graded degree and mix around in the society keeping social distancing, it becomes hugely important that we do not forget the rules that keep us safe. And those rules are extremely simple. When you walk out of that door of your house, you should have a mask on your face. You will never step out without a mask. And you will not remove the mask till you have come back into the house. Which mask you use is really irrelevant. Doctors like me have to use either N95 or surgical 3-ply masks. You may have to use surgical 3-ply mask or a cloth mask.
Sir,
But what is the most important thing about mask is
Shukla
that
sir,
it should cover.
Shukla sir, sorry to
Hello?
interrupt you. Am I audible, sir? Hello, Shukla sir.
I cannot hear you very well, ma'am.
Sir, there is an internet connectivity problem. Might be at your side. Your voice is breaking. Am I audible, sir?
Just about. Can you say that again, please?
Sir, am I audible?
Yes.
Yeah, sir. Your voice is breaking in between.
I have no idea because it's raining quite heavily out here, so
Yeah,
internet
yeah, yeah, sir.
connection may be patchy.
Maybe. Yeah, yeah. Okay, sir. Okay, sir. You can continue, sir. Okay.
Okay. So I will try to make this quick because there seems to be a difficulty with internet connection. The simple rule is you wear the mask which comes right up to here. It is important to keep that mask up to that level. Your nose has to be completely covered. Your mouth has to be completely covered, and as far as possible, it should go back up to the back of your chin. So your entire face has to be covered quite tightly. We see a lot of people using masks with their nose hanging out of the mask like that, or taking that mask down when they want to talk. That is really a bad idea. And you and I, as people at the forefront of healthcare, need to educate everyone, not only by helping them to wear it, but by doing it right ourselves first. Second most important thing is to keep our hands with ourselves. We are very fidgety with our hands and we try to touch everything that is around us. And particularly, this becomes a difficult part when you are facing a virus which spreads by aerosol and which stays in the air and on a lot of other things for a long time. And this becomes particularly problematic because just wearing the mask is not enough. We have to make sure that our hands do not act as vehicle that will take this virus from the environment and push it into our eyes, nose, and mouth. This is something really important which a lot of people do not understand. They wear a mask, but they keep scratching themselves over the mask. They wear the mask, but they take it down and then they move and touch themselves. So this is something that is really important for all of you because remember, when even one person is found positive, the entire family, sometimes the building or the entire locality goes into a lockdown phase to prevent further spread of the infection. So these are our personal responsibilities to make sure that we protect ourselves, we protect our society. And as healthcare professionals, it will be your duty to be at the forefront of making sure that this happens. We'll have to enforce it on ourselves, on our family members, on our friends and relatives, and even on the strangers that we see on the street. So if you're standing in a line and people are not keeping enough distance, as a healthcare professional, it becomes your responsibility to be the volunteer to stand up there and make sure that the distance is put. Don't feel awkward. You're not doing anything bad. You're not hurting people. It may look like a difficult task, but you are doing something to protect yourself, your family, and the nation. So it is as simple as that. I think I will take your leave now and leave it open for questions because we have a connection problem which may extinguish quite soon because it's very raining very heavily at the end where I am. So electricity may go away quickly. So look after yourselves. Use this time to get additional training that you have always wanted, which will give you a cutting edge over your competitors when you finally go into the job market. Look after yourselves by wearing masks, by not touching things, by cleaning your hands properly, by social distancing, and helping other people to do that if needed, enforcing that. Okay, I wish you all the best for your future and thank your college, DY Patil College of Pharmacy, once again with your principal, Dr. Neeraj Vebhare at the head and the entire team of faculty supporting him. So I will take your leave right now. If there are any questions, I'm happy to answer those.
Thank you, sir, for your thought-provoking address and worldwide opinion. It was really a wonderful session, sir. I hope all the participants must have some or other take-home message from this webinar. I now request to all the participants to post their queries or questions related to the webinar in the chat box so that Dr. Sudhir Pandya sir will take these questions on behalf of all of you and present to Dr. Shukla sir. So I now request Dr. Sudhir Pandya sir to please share the queries from the participants. Over to you, Pandya sir.
Thank you, madam. Good evening, Doctor Sir. Hello,
Hello.
sir. Good evening,
Let me
Doctor
log
Sir.
off and join in again because there is some problem with the connection. Give me 1 minute.
Yes, please. Yes, please. No problem, sir.
I request all the participants to wait for 1 minute. Sir is joining again because there is an internet connectivity issue. Yes, sir has joined. Welcome back, sir.
Yes, thank you.
Panda sir, over to you.
Thank you, madam. Thank you very much. Good evening, sir. Sir, am
Good
I
evening.
audible, sir? Good evening. Well, we are expecting some questions from the participants. And so may I ask the first question if possible, sir? Hello, sir.
Shukla sir, please unmute yourself.
So may I?
Yeah. Yes, please go ahead and ask your question.
Sure. Thank you, doctor. What I would like to know, sir, is once once the colleges restart and we'll be following the social distancing and we'll be practicing the laws that have been laid down by the government and the central government and the advice from the doctors, what extra care do you think we should take in case of we find someone positive, some of the health which comes along from outside, if they are positive, and in that case, how do we quarantine the area and sanitize the area, sir?
See, I think it is inappropriate for me to answer that question right now, for a simple reason that these rules are quite fluid. And I can assure you that there will be a lot of modification of the guidelines by the time the colleges are actually open. Most likely, every positive case, say after 3 weeks or a month, is unlikely to lead to entire closure of the hospital. It is quite possible that people will be allowed to continue their activity with social distancing and with appropriate quarantine wherever it is necessary, and regular sanitization of the spaces. So it is difficult to answer that question right now because depending on the number of patients, number of severe cases, and the speed of spread of that infection, guidelines will change as this moves on. So let us wait for appropriate guidelines from the government actually when the college opens.
Thank you, doctor. There's one more question which has come up. What psychological problems, especially among students, are expected, and how do we deal with them?
Right. See, this is a very important question, and thank you, Pallavi, for asking this question. It is a very unfortunate and complicated situation where we all are stuck in our homes and cannot go out. Though we are physically fit, we are healthy, we are not in any immediate danger. This constant fear mongering troubles us. So anxiety levels are quite high. This quarantine has, or this isolation has become like a stress test for a lot of us. People who had pre-existing mental health conditions are facing high difficulties. People with very high level of anxiety are again finding it more difficult because their anxiety is going through the roof. So my suggestion is that there are a few things that we all need to do very regularly even during lockdown. One is limit our exposure to TV and corona news. We all are intelligent people. It does not take more than 10 minutes to know what is the latest on it. And do not give more than 10 minutes to this news. The longer you continue to browse this news, hear this news, and hear those terribly stupid stories that spread on TV, you will become just more anxious. Second thing is that you should continue your daily routine and your exercise. That really helps calm your mind. Make sure that you have a hobby that you pursue regularly at home, and that will keep you mentally fit. A lot of people have learned pranayam and doing that very regularly. That will also help a lot to reduce your anxiety and make you feel very stable. So yoga and pranayam are two important things to be used during this time.
Thank you, doctor. One more question which has come up is, before starting the college, what things should be changed in regards to COVID-19?
I think one of the biggest challenge is going to be managing the space, because our courses, all courses in India are designed in such a way that our classrooms are absolutely full. So it is quite possible that we will have to conduct fewer classes because we will need to use few available large classrooms or auditoriums for the regular classes as well. Whatever is possible will be shifted online completely, and whatever is inevitable will only be conducted in the college. I think all of us will have to do away with all the ceremonies where we gather people, respect people, hear their speeches and all of that, like how we are doing this today. It will all have to move online. Only the practical things need to be done will have to be done in reality. And I have seen your labs, and I think they are very spacious labs. There is, even with social distancing norms, you will be able to accommodate your batches there very well. Only thing is that we'll have to be very careful with use of masks, possibly gloves, and regular hand washing. And I think we will be okay. You should not face those many difficulties.
Thank you, sir. There's one more question from Shraddha. What precautions we need to take while conducting lectures and practicals after the lockdown?
Yeah, I think I partially answered that question, that lectures are to be avoided as much as possible because we don't want people gathering. See, this virus is going to be around for at least 6 months, probably 2 years. This is the range that experts have given. So we'll have to be ready for that this academic year, possibly next academic year, will be COVID academic years. So lectures will be as less as possible. They will be online as much as possible, but practicals will have to be conducted in real life, and you have enough space there to maintain social distancing. Only thing is that students will have to get used to staying away from each other. We all Indian friends like to put our hands around each other, hold each other's hands, hug each other, and give those fist bumps and all of that. I think we will have to learn a lot of other skills to express our affection and friendship without actually touching each other.
Thank you. There's one more question from Mr. Jagdish. As per your information, sir, which type of mask should be used by students in colleges for better health care?
Okay, so let us look at what is the best possible scenario. Let us start from that, because you want the best option first. So the best option at present is wearing a N95 mask. But as you know that these masks are in short supply, and they are typically reserved for doctors who are doctors and nurses and frontline healthcare staff, which is facing COVID patients or who are likely to be exposed to procedures which have aerosol generation, like intubation, like dental operations, like ear, nose examination, eye examination, and all of that. So what is advised is that everybody should not be using N95 mask. Even in my clinic today, I do not use N95 mask. What I use is a surgical 3-ply mask, but I make sure that I'm about 7 feet away from my patient. The windows of my clinic are open and there is free ventilation. I do not use air conditioner even in this heat because that keeps us safe. So if possible, surgical masks, which are quite freely available in India, but they are slightly expensive. They at present are going for about 8 rupees per mask. And the most important thing is that that mask becomes useless after 3 to 4 hours of use, because the moisture in our breath accumulates there, makes the mask wet. And when the mask becomes moist or wet, it becomes completely useless as a filter. It is good only as long as it is dry. So you will need at least 2 masks or sometimes 3 masks every day. So if you can afford that, that is what you should be buying. The best option for general public and people who are not in higher situation is a good quality cloth mask. And as I told you, it has to be a broad mask. It has to fit here. It should go right up to here. Your nose should be closed, your mouth should be closed, your chin should be closed, and the mask should come right up to here. So this entire area should be fully covered as long as you are outside. That is the best mask. And when you go home, you should carry 2 or 3 masks with you. When one mask gets a little bit wet, you should put it away in a plastic bag and use the second dry mask. When you go home, you should put all the masks that you use through the day in soap solution or sodium hypochlorite solution for half an hour. Let it soak there, and then you can wash it with regular soap, dry it, and reuse it the next day. That is the best way to go about it.
Thank you very much for the information. There is one question from Ashwini Koreman. It's a very apt question. How do we handle the students and the children at home during this lockdown?
You will be surprised how difficult this question has become for all the parents. Because on one hand, you want to keep children safe, entertained, productively engaged. But on the other hand, these are all older children, so you don't want to be looking after them all of the time, and you don't want them to get addicted to internet addictions as well. This is a very difficult one. What I advise parents is that there should be a clear timetable of activities for students and for children. What is the study time? What is computer time? What is social media time? What is meals time? What is exercise time? What is cleaning up around the house, helping around the house time? What is just down quiet time? All of that need to be differentiated, need to be put in timetable, and need to be strictly adhered to. And those students who are listening to this, I request you not to argue with your parents over this, because there is a very high chance that unlimited internet use will make you quite as the COVID pandemic gets over. So look after yourself very well.
Thank you. There's one question from Dr. Pranya. If social distancing and online lectures, what about traveling through local trains? How do we manage that when they restart? When the local trains restart, how do we travel through local trains?
Ma'am, that is an extremely difficult question to answer. And to tell you very honestly, I do not have answer for that. We will have buses and metros and trams and the small trains and everything starting at some point of time. And with social distancing, I have no clue how it is going to be possible. The good advice will be to avoid it as much as possible. But again, that is not a practical. So honestly, I do not have a clear answer to that. My suggestion would be wear gloves, wear mask, wear full body clothes, and make sure that you keep the sanitization part very clean there.
Thank you. Thank you. There's one more question. What possible practical measures are feasible with colleges to run academics in your opinion, sir? It is from Vishal More. Hello.
Yeah, I think colleges should avoid getting students to the campus as much as possible, because it is very difficult for students to stay away from each other and manage social distancing. So most of the curriculum, as much as possible, should be finished online at least beginning of this year. I think the first term, right up to Diwali time, it will have to be as much online as possible.
Thank you. There's one question from Mr. Ashok. He's asking, we are using sodium hypochlorite, but can we use any other washing material like washing soda or any other material to clean our clothes and mask?
See, I'm not, you guys are actually better placed than me to answer this question. At present, at least 75% alcohol containing sanitizer and 0.5% sodium hypochlorite solution are the best advised for present. But a lot of people use bactericide and all of those surface wipes as well. There are two types of agents that we are looking at. One is for disinfection of that, where you take the clothes out and you soak them in sodium hypochlorite and then wash them. And then there is the second bunch where you have to clean the surfaces like doorknobs, tabletops, computer screens, etc. So they will have to be cleaned with sodium hypochlorite for sure, because that is one of the best agents that is available to us right now. And it is relatively cheap as well.
Okay, sir. Thank you. There's one more question from Archana, madam. She is saying, good evening, sir. Is the use of common facilities like library, computer labs, washrooms after lockdown period in the institute safe?
It is going to be tricky, because computers that are used by many people, we know that even before Corona came to visit us, that computer keyboards and mouses are some of the dirtiest things in the world. Our cell phone surfaces, our computer keyboards and our mouses actually have more bacteria than the toilet seats. This is the fact. So people should not be sharing these things at all. Question about using toilets, I think we will have to get used to using opening the door with as less touch as possible, then wash our hands with soap after every touch, and make sure that our hands stay away from our eyes, nose and mouth through the day.
Thank you. So I'm combining the next two questions. They are interlinked, and of course you have partly answered them, but there is another part to this question which I think the participants would like to know. The question is from Shubham and Sandeep. It is how to deal with people while attending a function after lockdown, and another attached to it is there is a huge use of digital gadgets, and also there are many physiological symptoms of health problems due to staying close at home, how do we overcome these health issues, and how do we take care of ourselves after the lockdown?
Okay, so second, let me answer the second question first. As soon as the absolute lockdown is over and you are allowed to walk around and exercise, I'm sure people will get out of their houses and try to put that distance between each other. So the fights and the irritability that generates in family because of close proximity is solved to certain extent. So that would be an easy option there. The first question was about attending functions and all of that. I can honestly tell you that attending any function for next 1 year is not a good idea at all. It's absolutely terrible idea. So unless you are getting married, you shouldn't really be going to that function. So unless you're the bride or the groom, you shouldn't be really going for the function. All other functions which are possible to be postponed by a year should definitely be postponed, because we are not in a good situation. Believe me, in Mumbai and Pune, government is barely managing to keep up with the patient inflow. Though government is working hard and trying to get as many beds and doctors and everything it is as possible, it is not an easy task. If this thing spreads and if it comes to district levels, and a single marriage has a potential to infect something like 500 people, do you have a district hospital with 500 beds there? It is not there. Not a single district hospital in Maharashtra has 500 beds. Such big hospitals are there either as corporate hospitals or large government teaching hospitals. So be very careful, avoid all the public gatherings. Everything can be done from home. All your religious needs can be fulfilled from home. I don't think there is any God which requires you to gather in large number and only then the God feels better. All religions give margin for that. So stay at home and do not mix around with people, even when the lockdown is declared to be over.
Sure. Thank you, Doctor. There is one very valid and appropriate question. It has been asked by our principal, sir, Dr. Vyavare, sir. It is on behalf of all principals. He says, we may have faculty and students with different mindset in post-COVID scenario. So what is the suggestion for principals that you would like to suggest?
See, I think a lot of principals are already used to being the bad boys, because they have to implement certain discipline, and nobody likes a person who implements discipline. But there are two very crucial issues here. One is implementation of government rules, which are the breaking of those rules is difficult, because then the head of the institution is directly responsible, culpable for that. And second is general safety principle. So I think principals and all the faculty members will have to work together as a team to impose all the safety principles that have been laid down by government. They will have to get students on their side, and those students who are unable to keep these functions properly, who are unable to follow these rules, I think they will have to be reprimanded. There will have to be consequences of that, because one person misbehaving is like a drunkard driving a four-wheeler on a crowded street. Not only they are putting themselves in danger, but they are going to put everybody around them in danger. So it becomes our joint responsibility to make sure. So I think it is a bit unfair to put that entire responsibility on principal alone. This needs to be everybody's teamwork, including the students, your faculty members, other workers in the college. Everybody has to come together and maintain these rules. No one person can do this for us.
Thank you, Doctor. Again, I'm going to combine two questions by our faculty team members. One of them is Mukesh Mohite, sir, and the other is Aruna Bilasdar, madam. They are saying, what would be the major role of the teacher in the current situation, where they will be handling around 60 students per class for 2 or 3 times a day?
Right. So all teachers have to look after themselves very well. That is the first thing. Again, the colleges should arrange timetables in such a way that teachers get break time in between. Again, let me say this again, that I don't think colleges are going to open anytime soon. We will need quite some time to be very comfortable and confident about this epidemic before we formally get people together in small halls like our college rooms. Fortunately, there is enough social distancing between teacher and the 60 students, but teachers will have to continue to wear masks, particularly surgical masks, even when they are speaking, because they are the most conducive to speak. It is also possible that teachers will have to start using something like public address so that their voices don't get strained because of the mask. But as much as possible, all these lectures and everything will have to happen online. We will have to avoid classroom lectures as much as possible. Most likely this entire term, quite possibly this entire academic year.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for that. Uh,
Thank you.
there is one question from Jyoti Wagh. She is asking whether university is planning for exams in June for the final years this year. So again, how do we maneuver these exams? Being a teacher, being a faculty, or being a student? What will be the
See,
main
I think,
responsibilities?
I can tell you that I have been on the side of faculty, and faculty hates exams because it entails too much of work which is not really productive. And a lot of faculty doesn't believe that exams really differentiate good students from bad students, but that is a requirement and faculty has no other option than conducting those exams. I think, so if you are really worried about the exams, then I am assuming that you are a student. As you have seen that 9th and 11th standard have been exempted from their exam, there is a talk of except final year, all the exams being exempted. But believe me, no university is going to give you your degree in a silver platter directly delivered to your home. There will be some form of assessment. It will be a modified assessment. It will depend on your class attendance, even online. It will depend on your past record. It will depend on how your projects are, what kind of online assessments are designed by university for you. So all these things are up in the air. So though you may not in the classroom and write that exam immediately, there will be some form of assessment. So if you are a student, you need to stay on the top of your game. Do not assume that you will get a free pass to final year straight away. There will be some assessment and it will be a good assessment.
Thank you, sir. Our faculty, Dr. Shilpa Chaudhary ma'am, has asked, what will be the best way to sanitize the college once it starts?
Ma'am, there is no one single way of sanitizing the college and there is no one single time. This will have to be a repeated activity. So college will need extra number of bins to collect all the discarded masks, face shields, and all of that. They will have to be accessible at easily available places all over the place. You may have to even think about using doorknobs and things which are easier to open and close without any touch. A college will have to deploy extra cleaning teams or give extra work to regular cleaning teams where the high touch surfaces are cleaned specifically with disinfectants and the low touch surfaces are cleaned regularly. I think it will definitely help if all of us take care of environment around us and at least try to litter or contaminate as less area as possible. We'll all will have to do this together as a team. In certain cases, you may need UV cleaning of the small area, or you may need fumigation of some particular area if a positive case is found there and all of that. This will be very fluid, but on day-to-day basis, the less areas we touch, the less litter we make, we will make the world safer for everybody.
Thank you, doctor. There's one question from the home front side, and it is being asked by Ruchi. She is asking if Fitkari with warm water will be useful to clean fruits and vegetables.
See, a lot of fruits and vegetables have insecticide on them. So cleaning them with regular running water is usually good enough. Nothing is going to take away the corona from that vegetable. So putting it out in the sun for 3 days may make the corona go away, but then those vegetables won't be worth eating. So what with proper running cold water is good enough, but you have to remember to wash your hands after you have touched the vegetables. See, vegetables are cooked, so the virus won't survive that. You have to remember again and again that there are only 2 ways in which this virus can enter your body. One is through the air, the aerosols, if it is floating around. So the closer you are to people, the higher chance of that virus going to you. And the second is virus has already settled on surfaces and you are picking it up from those surfaces which you are hand and transferring it to your eyes, your nose, or your mouth. So either you stay away from people so that the aerosol doesn't reach you, and second is you do not help the virus by transferring it from everywhere and pushing it in your eyes, nose and mouth. So if we take these cares, everything else is going to be fine. So you touch the vegetables, you wash them, you put them for cooking, but you remember to wash your hands very well with soap and get away from the habit of touching your nose, eyes and mouth 100%.
Thank you, Doctor. Dr. Devendra Shure, a faculty member from our side, has asked, sir, can you suggest us some workable schedule for the employees, whether they can come whether we can work on alternate days or we can work with the 50% staff or something like that? And another extension to that question is from Piyush and Priyanka. They have asked if we can restrict the use of ACs, or whether ACs working will help or will not help or will cause more harm due to COVID-19.
Okay, let me try and answer both these questions. So the thing about faculty attendance is really not for you and me to decide. Unfortunately, government comes up with guidelines and one has to follow those. So that is not really something that you and I can decide. That will have to be left to the government and we'll have to follow those guidelines. Most government guidelines are in favor of using minimum possible staff. So that is something that will have to be worked out with the management. The question about AC is definitely easier to answer. See, what air conditioner essentially does is it recirculates the air. Very little air is taken from outside, but air conditioner prefers to recirculate the air because that saves energy. Now, this is exactly what we don't want. Everybody's breath going in the air conditioner, going through the filter and coming back out again cooled is all right in other circumstances. But with a respiratory virus going around, ideally you should avoid using AC altogether. That is why I said that the clinical guidelines for doctors are there, at least, that if possible, do not use AC at all. Open all the windows and let the air flow through. Even fans, when you are sitting there, they should be behind you, so they are blowing towards the patient and not from patient to you. Now, in classrooms, you have ceiling fans and that is fine, but do not use the ACs as much as possible. Wherever you have to use AC, it should be doing at least 10 to 12 air changes for the room every hour. Now, most ACs actually do not do that. Most Indian ACs are designed for efficiency and saving electricity, so they don't do so many air changes. So again, the best answer is do not use air conditioner if possible.
Thank you, sir. There is one more question from Shubham. He is asking whether we can permanently use mask and sanitizers even after the pandemic is over, or whether the excess use of sanitizer may cause harm to our skin and the other parts of the body.
Right. See, if you have visited other countries, particularly the Southeast Asian countries, even before pandemic, a very large proportion of people wear masks there. Particularly in Japan, huge number of people wear masks. Anytime you feel uncomfortable with your health, anytime you have any kind of flu or sniffle or allergy or anything, people wear masks so that they don't spread infection to other people. We Indians don't have this habit. We spit, we cough, we sneeze in people's faces. You know, that way we have been a dirty people for a very long time. So it is time we change that. I think wearing mask will continue for a very long time. And people like me who believe in wearing masks are going to be wearing that mask for one entire year. Even if everyone else around me stops wearing a mask and they call me paranoid, they call me stupid, they call me sissy, they call me weak, they call me whatever that they want to call, that is their problem, but I'm going to continue wearing that mask. So we'll have to use that. And when will the pandemic be over? WHO says that it will take anywhere between 6 months to 2 years. So let us assume that it will take at least 2 years. So it is going to be with us for a very long time. So let us have a good stock of masks. Let us as a country start producing better quality, cheaper masks, and let's start using them and let's keep using them.
Thank you, Doctor. One more question from our faculty member, Dr. Shubhangi Jadhav. Can you please tell us how this lockdown will have an impact on the psychology of students?
That is a difficult one to answer because this lockdown is not over yet. We don't know when it is going to get over. We also don't know how quickly it will be lifted completely. If it is a graded lifting, then it will take us at least 6 months to come back to our normal life. My guess is that students will get used to being by themselves. Students will get used to spending huge amount of time on their computers and on their cell phones. And that will actually benefit some students who otherwise get distracted to other things. And it may harm a lot of other students who are likely to get addicted to this. How much they will be willing for classroom learning after all of this is definitely a doubt in my mind. So teaching will be changed quite permanently in post-COVID days.
Thank you, Doctor. There's a question from Sachin, who is saying that, do you think the college should take up the responsibilities of the various social aspects that have to be covered post-COVID?
See, this is a difficult one to ask because I think we are in a situation where no single person, no single organization, no single authority can take responsibility for anything. This is a huge task for any single person to finish. So this is a bit like Govardhan Girdhari moment in Krishna Charitra, that the mountain needs to be lifted, otherwise we all are going to get washed away, and no single person can lift that mountain. So everybody will have to do their bit. Without that, this is not going to be happen. Any responsibility on a single person will simply doom us for failure.
Thank you, Doctor. There's one more tricky question for you, sir,
Yeah.
and that is asked by Dr. Sonali Madam. She is asking, once the students start coming to the college, the parents will be psychologically a little upset or they'll be a little worried. How can we handle the parents?
Ma'am, it is a tricky question only if we make it tricky. And a lot of you may not like my answer, but please hear me out patiently. All students coming to you are older than 18 years. So legally they are adults. In Western universities, when students join for their undergraduate studies, parents do not get even a chance to talk to professors. College does not answer any questions from parents unless the student has cleared the answer. They have a right to privacy. In our culture, we let parents intrude into everything. And because you are a private institution, there is additional burden that they are actually paying the fees. So we are answerable to them all the time. I think Corona will help us break this all the time. These students are adults. They need to take care of themselves. Their parents' anxiety is something that they need to handle as their children. This is not a load for faculty and the college to solve. So parents' questions about students need to be handled by those students who are using their parents' money to further their own life. It is time we transfer this responsibility to those students and those parents and take it away from shoulders of faculty. It is time to behave like adults.
Thank you, Doctor. Dr. Smita Madam has asked, can face shield mask provide a better protection than a normal mask?
See, I have used mask and mask in combination with face shield. So face shield is quite comfortable to wear in addition to the mask. It will definitely give you additional protection. But you have to realize that with a face shield in place, you cannot take a phone call. It poses a very big problem there. So face shield will definitely protect you from the blast that is coming to you. Face shield will definitely prevent your hands from going to your face, but it will prevent a lot of other normal activities like eating, like holding the phone and something like that. So face shield gives additional layer of protection with additional layer of difficulties as well. I do expect a lot of people to wear face shield around us. I do use it once in a while.
Thank you, Doctor. There's a question from a faculty named Payal ma'am. What as a teacher can we do to reduce the risk and spread of coronavirus in case it is detected in our college?
Ma'am, again, this is a very difficult question for me to answer because this situation is bound to happen, that lockdown is gradually taken away, people start attending college at least for practicals or partially like that. and then suddenly one student is detected to be positive. I think we will have to wait for government guidelines on this. There will be clear guidelines, but they are not out yet because the lockdown hasn't lifted and the college hasn't started yet.
Thank you. Thank you, Doctor. There is one question from Chem Corona. It says, as the exams of FY to TY have been cancelled by the university, so students are in a different mindset as far as assessment is concerned. So do you think that regular counseling of students post-COVID plays a pivotal role?
See, there is a lot of stress on counseling everywhere. And as a psychiatrist, I'm slightly surprised by that because everybody is asking for counseling. Exactly what do you mean by counseling? It is an exam, it is an assessment. Well, the rules are very clearly laid out and they are told to you well in advance. Why do people need counseling to appear for an exam which is declared like that? Yeah, you have exam anxiety or something like that, and for that you need counseling. That is understandable. But asking for counseling and explanations repeatedly is an Indian habit, and it is not a good habit. It keeps us children forever. So I think people will need to understand the rules of the new game and start playing accordingly. I think most of the students are going to learn these rules very well. Our universities are very lenient. They always look after the interest of students. And in spite of all that help, few students who do not manage to pass the exams are usually having extraordinary difficulties. And the faculty will be there to help them. But expecting faculty to counsel students all the time is not a fair game at all. Students need to start behaving like adults, take their responsibility, take it seriously, and not waste time pretending this is a holiday for them, because this is not a holiday.
Thank you, Doctor. Doctor, there are many other questions, but there are many more. But are you comfortable if Jyotsna Madam can carry all the questions to your mail ID and then you can answer them?
Sure, we can definitely try that. I think we are pretty much at the end of the time anyway. So yeah, we can stop here now.
Sure. Thank you, Doctor. Before I hand over the session to Jyotsna Madam once again, I would request our Principal Sir, Dr. Neeraj Sir Vyavare, to please come in, join the platform and share his comments and guidance for the session that has been conducted today. Sir, please may I invite you, sir?
Yes, yes. Am I audible, sir?
Yes, sir.
Yes, yes, absolutely.
Yes. Good evening, sir. Good evening. That is not my advice. Pardon, sir? Hello?
I just want to switch off my mic so that it does not create interference there.
Yes, sir. Really, as usual, it was very interesting session, and more interesting is interacting with you. I think because of heavy rains, we have to little bit curtail this session. We could not cover, but I think that that gives a more better chance to interact with you people, with you, sir. Many questions are there, and certain questions, what we call it as imaginary questions, are much more because we interact with the faculty and student, and this is the phase where imaginary questions comes like anything. If this is happen, what will be the situation? If this happens, what will be the answer? And these things, I think many questions of this type you have answered, and your session has given us a good insight, sir. And definitely interacting with you on such topic is very important. We have conducted many technical sessions, but during the interaction with our students and even colleague, we found that this session is important. That's why we invited you, sir, over here. And as usual, you have given a wonderful insight about the topic wherever it is possible, and it will help all of us, all the teaching students as well as the principals, to plan their post-COVID activity or post-COVID planning in a customized way. So thank you, sir, for sparing your time. And as usual, I also enjoyed it. Was a lot of addition to my knowledge along with all the audience. Thank you, sir.
Thank you for the opportunity, sir. It is always a pleasure to talk to you and interact with your students and your faculty. It's a great pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for your guidance and your comments on the session. May I now request Jyotsna Madam to take over and also ask for the feedback link, please.
Yeah, thank you, Panda sir. Thank you, Mr. Shukla sir, for guiding us in such a nice way. May I now request Dr. V.R. Vaidya sir to propose the vote of thanks. Vaidya sir, over to you.
Thank you, ma'am. I, Dr. Vaibhav Vaidya, on behalf of Dr. D.Y. Patil College of Pharmacy, Akodi, take this opportunity to extend my thanks to Dr. Bhushan Shukla sir for giving thought-provoking inputs and making us aware about do's and don'ts. And as you mentioned, sir, rightly, that more we sweat in peace, less we bleed in the war. And I think we are in the state of war with Corona. So I must say that you have given this eye-opening kind of thoughts for us. I also thanks all participants for your patient listening. Thank you one and all. Over to Josna ma'am.
Thank you, Vaidya sir. With this, I conclude that the session is over. Once again, thank you, Bhushan Shukla sir, for being part of this webinar and guiding us in such a nice way. Thank you, sir.
Thanks a lot. Bye now.
Thank you.
Bye.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Bye, sir. Yeah. I request all the participants to please fill the feedback form, which is the link is given in the chat box. I repeat, all the participants, please fill the feedback form, and the link of feedback form is given in the chat box. All the participants are requested to give your valuable feedback by filling the feedback form. The link will be valid for next 5 minutes.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hello.
What about for the participants who are listening the session
Yes.
from mobile?
Yeah, you can also fill from the mobile, ma'am. In the chat box, you can see the link.
Which chat box?
You can see in the mobile, 3 options are there. One is the participant, second is the chat box, and in the chat box the link is given. Google Form link is given.
Just a minute, ma'am. Excuse me.
Yeah, okay.
Actually, first the link was given